Hollywood News presents an in-depth look at Shia LaBeouf's recent reflection on his turbulent experience with Alec Baldwin during their short-lived collaboration on a stage production in 2013. The Transformers actor, known for his intensity and deep commitment to his craft, opened up about the emotional turmoil, insecurities, and tension that arose during rehearsals, a period that ultimately left him shaken and reflective. Shia LaBeouf is not one to shy away from the uncomfortable. In a new interview published on May 8 by The Hollywood Reporter, the 38-year-old actor offered a raw and revealing account of a pivotal moment in his career, the time he clashed with Alec Baldwin while working on a Broadway play over a decade ago. The production was initially set to star Al Pacino, and LaBeouf had invested 2 years of intense preparation in anticipation of performing alongside the legendary actor. But when Pacino dropped out, Baldwin stepped in with only 2 weeks to prepare, a sudden shift that changed everything for LaBeouf. By the time Baldwin got there, it was almost unfair, LaBeouf admitted. He's dealing with both my fractured little weak ego, right? All this hard prep that I'd done for 2 years, and my desperate need to show him all my prep, or that he would accept me somehow. I was so insecure. That insecurity, according to LaBeouf, became the breeding ground for conflict. Rather than building camaraderie, the actors quickly found themselves at odds. That got contentious in the room, he said. Then he got competitive. The differences in their work styles only exacerbated the friction. LaBeouf, who was off-book, meaning he had fully memorized his lines, found himself clashing with Baldwin, who still relied on the script in hand. That dynamic disrupted the flow of their rehearsals. I'd be off-book, he'd be on-book, and he didn't want me to look at him be off-book, LaBeouf explained. That makes it hard to play these scenes out or block this thing even. And no fault against him, he had 2 weeks to come in because Pacino dropped out. For LaBeouf, the casting switch hit particularly hard because of how deeply he had connected with the idea of performing alongside Pacino. I had built the whole thing based on my relationship with Pacino. And that's gone. So I was kind of heartbroken. The experience became so difficult that LaBeouf eventually chose to walk away from the play. At the time, his exit made headlines and left fans wondering what had really happened behind the scenes. Now, over 10 years later, LaBeouf is finally offering his perspective, one marked by both vulnerability and growth. Despite the tension during rehearsals, LaBeouf shared that he and Baldwin ultimately found peace. Their reconciliation came under unexpected circumstances, through an NYU acting class taught by Baldwin, which LaBeouf attended after stepping away from the stage production. Me and him are good because he's gone through a lot. I've gone through a lot, LaBeouf reflected. We've both been able to send each other love and make it right before all the madness happened on both sides. We made it right. He's a good guy. He's just like me. LaBeouf, who is currently facing a September court date to address a lawsuit filed by former girlfriend FKA Twigs, alleging sexual assault and emotional distress, which he denies, also took the opportunity to speak candidly about his own behavior during that chapter of his life. Fear will make you move different, he admitted. I found it came from having absolutely no spiritual life. It made me a piece of st. Not a nice guy. The emotional honesty marks a continued evolution for LaBeouf, whose career has been marked by both critical acclaim and personal controversy. While he's long been known for throwing himself into his roles with almost fanatical dedication, as seen in films like Honey Boy and Fury, that same passion has sometimes caused rifts with colleagues and directors. This wasn't the first time the conflict between LaBeouf and Baldwin was discussed publicly. Back in 2014, Baldwin gave his own account of the situation in an interview with Vulture, describing an early tension between the two actors. There was friction between us from the beginning, Baldwin said at the time. LaBeouf seems to carry with him, to put it mildly, a jailhouse mentality wherever he goes. You could tell right away he loves to argue. And one day he attacked me in front of everyone. He said, "You're slowing me down and you don't know your lines. And if you don't say your lines, I'm just going to keep saying my lines." According to Baldwin, LaBeouf's abrupt departure may have been influenced by his prior success in blockbuster films and the confidence, or entitlement, that sometimes comes with it. I think he was shocked, Baldwin said. He had that card you get when you make films that make a lot of money that gives you a certain kind of entitlement. I think he was surprised that it didn't work in the theater. That sentiment was echoed by others in the theater community at the time, as many questioned whether LaBeouf's intense film persona translated well to the collaborative world of live stage performance. In theater, relationships among cast members, and with the audience, are built in real time, requiring flexibility and trust. For LaBeouf, who had built his expectations around a completely different co-star, That shift proved to be emotionally jarring. Still, the fact that LaBeouf and Baldwin were able to patch things up speaks volumes about their personal growth. Both men have endured their own share of highly publicized struggles. Baldwin has been embroiled in controversy and legal battles following the tragic incident on the set of Rust, while LaBeouf continues to face intense scrutiny over his personal behavior and past relationships. But for LaBeouf, this revisiting of a difficult chapter comes with a sense of humility and self-awareness that was perhaps lacking in his earlier years. "I was just trying to be seen, man. Just trying to matter," he told The Hollywood Reporter. "I wasn't trying to be difficult. I was just scared." That fear, of not being accepted, of not being taken seriously, of not measuring up, was at the heart of the emotional storm that defined his brief stage venture. It also mirrors a broader struggle that LaBeouf has openly battled throughout his life: the search for identity and validation in an industry that can often be unforgiving. Even as he prepares for a major legal confrontation this fall, LaBeouf's willingness to publicly reflect on his past missteps suggests a man actively working through his demons. "I'm not proud of the way I handled it," he said, looking back on the Baldwin debacle. "But I've learned a lot since then." Whether audiences are willing to embrace LaBeouf again remains to be seen. His candid interviews and raw performances continue to fascinate fans and critics alike, but the shadow of legal trouble and past behavior still looms large. Still, this recent moment of clarity could mark another turning point for the actor. Someone who, for better or worse, has never stopped evolving in front of the public eye. Stay tuned as Unleashed Hollywood News continues to follow this story and others like it, diving deep into the lives, controversies, and comebacks of Hollywood's most complex stars. Unleashed Hollywood News, your source for the stories behind the spotlight.